All right, so it looks like we are live. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Awakening Consciousness with Asher and Jesse. Got a great show for you again today. We're going to be talking about what we're doing in our own lives to sort of beat the New World Order. So I know that's kind of a clickbaity title, but the real conversation is about how to win in your own life despite all the craziness going on around us. And so I'm going to be sharing a little bit of what I'm doing in my personal and also business life, and also Jesse's going to be sharing some of the stuff that he's doing. And so yeah, should be a good one. Anything to add before we get started?
Yeah, I mean it's a clickbaity title, but I mean we got to do something, man. No, I think we got a great show. No one watches it, so we no people.
I do too.
Watch it, but
I do too.
But and people appreciate it. Like the people who do watch it appreciate it. And I've actually gotten some really interesting contacts out of it for different things. But but it's like we're not getting traction. We've never, of course, done any marketing of any kind. If I don't know, if you're out there, if you're a marketing whiz and you want to like just for fun help us grow this thing, we could use that.
Yeah, it's tough when we get censored and strikes, and we have to watch our tone or watch what we say, and then we can't do anything for weeks, and then so that certainly hasn't helped.
No, that's true. We actually were getting
having to take down all the content. So
right.
Yeah, I think we actually were getting when we've gotten some traction.
Yeah, we were getting some traction early on YouTube before they decided we shouldn't.
Yeah,
that's right. True. I forgot all about that. Right. And I don't really follow the alt platforms. I don't really know if people are really watching them too much on there or not.
There's been some videos that have gotten more views on the alt platforms than they have on YouTube, especially brand YouTube. We've gotten a few videos. Yeah, cool. and then our channel was like the Rhodium channel, like one of the recommended channels for sort of alternative content and that kind of stuff. So
really,
yeah,
how did that happen?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it's going so bad. But no, I also think that we have a good show and are contributing to the greater conversation with some of the stuff that we talk about. And yeah, what's wrong with people? Why aren't you?
We just got to pass a law. We just need like a mandate that says, you got to watch this show or you'll be punished.
Yeah. Well, my hair is looking better. So that's one thing that we're doing.
I've got headphones.
So I got So I got my hair on point. So that's better. Makeup team was not able to arrive today. So unfortunately, I'll have all the yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we were talking about like sometimes we have a well thought out topic for the show, and one of us puts together some research and we have like a sort of theme that we're going. And this morning I texted Jesse or I can't remember who texted who, but like we were talking about doing the show for today, and I mentioned that I hadn't paid attention to anything that went on in the sort of world around me over the weekend, and if we wanted to, I could start looking into some topics for topic ideas, and that might be the point of all this. And so Jesse suggested that we talk about what we're doing in our own lives and how that actually is defeating the New World Order and defeating the narrative and the life that they want us to lead and the path that they want us to go down. And the fact that we didn't spend or I know I didn't spend any time over the weekend doing anything, looking at any news or any of the stuff going on in Russia or Will Smith slapping Chris Rock or anything. Like I didn't. Nothing.
You didn't pay close attention to that? I can't believe it.
No, believe it or not, no, I did not. But what I did do, and I'll show some photos, is I worked on my garden. So it's part of my garden. You can't see the whole thing, but these are 6 of the 9 raised beds that I have planted. So we have peas over here. I have carrots growing inside of the peas. That's kind of an experiment going on there. I have carrots over here. These are radishes and turnips. There's spinach over
I
here,
don't know if you're
lettuce over here,
switching.
strawberries.
I don't know if you're switching like photos or video or something. On my end, at least, it has not shown up yet what you're sharing. It just says Ashley Cowan has started
Oh,
sharing screen, but has not showed up yet. Possible that's on my end, but just letting you know.
bummer. Let me see what's going on online. No, it's nothing. Nothing's there. So it's probably my internet. So I'll be jump back for a second. So maybe talk.
Yeah, now it just
Talk to the
popped up.
people.
So right now I'm looking at
Okay, so
yeah,
it's
now I'm
gonna.
looking at some raised beds. Looks like you got some stuff growing in there. So yep.
Mhm. Yeah. So and here's another view. Whoops, can't see them. E-resu, I am here. Totally agree. Things has to be done. Yes, can't see. Am I back?
Yeah. I mean, I
Here we
hear
go.
you, and I'm looking at, I'm looking at the raised beds. You may have jumped to other photos that I haven't seen yet. That I'm not sure, but your screen is sharing.
Okay, so here's another view of it. Here's lettuce, arugula, kale, broccoli, collards, strawberries. So really, and again, this is only a partial view of the garden. I think you can see a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see 8 beds here, and there's a 9th. So I got a lot of stuff planted. I have potatoes, onions, uh, rosemary, thyme, carrots, beets, arugula, Swiss chard, kale, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots. I think I said that. Lettuce, strawberries, peas. I got a lot of stuff. So, and my goal this year is to be able to grow year round. And I think that with some minor adjustments or minor additions to these raised beds, meaning um, covering with it with like a poly tarp, I think I'll be able to grow year round. And so that's what I'm doing. I love hanging out with my kids. So, and my strategy for that, because it's work what I did over the weekend, and kids don't always want to do work, but they do want to help me out. And so my strategy with that is to not to force them like, okay, daddy's working in the garden, so it's time for everyone to help out, but I just go do it. And oftentimes they will want to help out and want to come and see what I'm doing and participate and do the work along with me. And so, over the course of the day, they'll come and help me. They'll go do other stuff. They'll come back and help me. And that's my strategy for getting them interested in gardening, interested in doing work outside and that kind of stuff. So rather than force them to help me, I let them decide when they want to do it. And most of the time they do. Most of the time they want to come help. And for example, like later in the day yesterday, I had to go plant some more seeds. And I'm just gonna go do it regardless of what they want to do. And I say, hey, does anyone want to come help me plant seeds? And all 3 of them wanted to come out. And because it's nothing that I've ever forced them to do. It's something that they want to do because they like spending time with me and they like helping and they like being outside and doing that kind of stuff. So rather than you know trying to force them to do something that maybe they want to do, maybe they don't. But even if they do want to do that, if they feel forced to do it, then they're going to sort of rebel. That's what kids do. That's, I'm sure, what I did when I was a kid. But so that's what they do. So that's kind of what I'm doing on a personal level. You know, I have my food production going. I've done what I've said recommended to everyone, is to localize your food supply. And so with that, that's growing your own food. It's getting to know local farmers. It's, you know, neighbors. It's all of that stuff. And so, so yeah. What about you? What do you got going on in your personal life before we talk business?
Sure. Yeah, it's interesting too. You know, you've been doing gardens like that, not quite as long as I've known you, because we met in high school, but I remember shortly thereafter, you know, when you were in the Boston area, I guess you were doing consulting work at that time. I remember you were like right away, you had, you know, you were in a community garden with your, you know, with your raised beds doing your thing. It was like early 20s, right? Had to be. So that's something, you know, you've been into for a long time. And I remember, you know, you were very proud of it, I remember, and it was looked great. Like, you know, so
Yeah.
I was impressed, certainly. So yeah, very cool that you're still doing that and that you do it with the kids and all that. That's obviously awesome. And yeah, I really second your, you know, your, obviously we're not going to make this a parenting show, but you know, it's, first of all, it's not only kids that rebel against, you know, being told to do stuff, it's adults too, at least the non-broken ones. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's everybody, right? Um, and yeah, the, you know, enticing, getting people, it's not even just kids. This is something I've really been discovering lately, right? It's like, you know, working with people, just taking the force out of everything is so key to successful anything, and definitely parenting, but also enterprises, you know, running a business, anything. It's really that, you know, it's that voluntarist model at the micro level, right? At the level of family, or at the level of, you know, your business or whatever you're doing. You've got to let things flow and let people get excited about what they're doing, and then fit the role to what they're doing, even if it's on the level of your 3-year-old or whatever, right? In my case. And I've really been, you know, I've really been playing with that lately, and it's hard as a parent because I have a temper and I got shit I'm trying to get done, and then I have, you know, 3 kids who throw wrenches in that all the time, and it's very easy to, you know, it's very easy to just, you know, drop the hammer. But and that's, you know, my natural reaction, but I think that does a lot of damage. And I also think that they naturally want to cooperate, but they need to feel, you know, understood, and then be like on board and excited about something, you know, about whatever it is, you know. So that's a really you know, I think that's an important point that you were making there. Yeah, I mean, my, you know, my personal life stuff, it's interesting. So I'm definitely doing my, I'm not somebody who does a lot physically, personally myself, or even not physically. Like I don't do much. You know, I'm very busy and I run a lot of things. But I run them. I don't really I'm not the guy that, you know, I don't know how to do anything really with my hands. It's kind of sad in a certain way, but you know, I can't fix a car. I can't, you know, I can't grow a garden. I don't have these kinds of skills, and they're not really things I necessarily enjoy all that much. Although gardening, I do enjoy. Um, so I don't, you know, I'm not doing a ton of that stuff. I have all those things happening, right? Like we're doing agricultural projects, which we'll get into when we talk about the business stuff. So we're, you know, I'm doing those kinds of things, but I haven't done a lot of that stuff myself. I'm actually looking forward to like getting my hands in the dirt and digging in a garden at some point in the near future. Just more so just for sort of like the spiritual, like therapeutic type reasons than like wanting to grow food myself, because the food's already growing. But yeah, so but for me, right, what's I think important in this topic that I want to talk about as it relates to my personal life is something that ties in a little bit to what you were just saying, which is that, you know, you spent the weekend in your garden and not looking at what's going on in Russia. And I think I think the responsibility that we all have, or the opportunity, to put it another way, that we all have in in participating in, and being part of, and even a driving force behind this shift, right, in from one potential reality into a different potential reality, is where we put our attention and our focus, and what we're doing with our minds and our time and our being and our vibration and our bodies and all of it, right? So I think a big key to that, a big component to that, that I'm really, I really do try, because it's a process, it takes effort, try to live by and try to implement in my life, is not putting my mental energy into stuff that creates outcomes I don't want, not putting attention or physical energy into creating stuff I don't want. And that goes right back to the micro too. It's like if I snap and yell at my 3-year-old, what am I creating in him? Am I creating a world that uh of peace and joy and like gardens and stuff, or am I creating like resentment, right? And like, this is what, when when something goes wrong, you yell at someone. That's almost, it's a form of violence, really. Because I have so much power over him, right? I'm like 3 times his size, and he respects me completely and all these things, right? Um so that's really, to me, on the individual level, on the personal level, like, that's really a big piece of the battle, right? It's that self-control, it's that having the discipline, both in what you do with your time. Like, just to give an example there, right? If my brain's tired or something, and I got a few minutes, and I'm not going to dedicate it to work, which is fairly rare to me, but for me, and if I'm going to do something else, do I put on some like nonsense on YouTube, right? Or do I put on some, audio book, or some spiritual lesson, or something that will lift my spirits and lift my vibration, right? That's an example. So what we do with our eyeballs, with our ears, with our mouths, right, with our bodies, with our all of it. This is on a micro level. Having your house in order in that way, right, having your life in order in that way, is how then lots of people doing that, right, is how we actually create a different narrative on earth. So I guess in my life, that's kind of what I'm focused on, and I'm trying to implement that as well into my businesses and those things, which we'll talk about in a minute. But really, it's getting control over my mind and my thoughts that's really important. I've come to understand very clearly, not having an unruly mind that's all the chatter and all the judgment and all that kind of crap. Because I think, those are the things that, maybe not for me, they might not lead to horrible, they might not lead to war and violence, and things like that. But ultimately, that is the path, that kind of gets there ultimately.
Yeah, and I want to add, like, to what you were saying about the attention, because a lot of what they do is they put things out there, to harness people's attention and energy. And whether you come down on the left side of it or the right side of it, they don't particularly care. They just care that your attention, energy, and in a lot of cases, like anger and wrath and hatred towards the other side, is captured in that thing. And so they don't necessarily care which side you are. They probably like it that there's all these kind of like truther videos out there, and we're gonna get Hillary any day now, just trust the plan, and we got her dead to rights, and she's going down in the sewers, and we got her. That
I'm laughing,
that
but I
is
still think
a
that's a possibility.
right. Yeah, any day now, we're gonna get her. um and like, chasing those rabbit holes, and you know hoping against hope that happens, like, it's a way to drain the energy from you, when you should be putting it towards things like I just showed you. Like, that's where your energies and attention should go to in your personal life, your family, your kids, your garden, building resiliency and your local communities and your networks of people who are see the same things and are focused on the same goals and outcomes, and forgetting about the outside, like eh, forget about that stuff. It just at the end of the day doesn't matter. Same thing with waking people up. The amount of energy that I've spent trying to wake people up, and I don't know, maybe I'm like 1 for 500, something like that, maybe two people, something like that, of people that I've directly said things. I think I've put things out there since then, like on this show and all that stuff, and maybe that's helped. But I think that if you're coming to our show, I think you're pretty much already awake to what's going on, as opposed to waking up. And so just there's a lot of ways that you could that your energy can be tapped for the wrong purposes, and just don't let that happen. It has to go towards building the world that you want to see on the micro level and on the macro level.
Yeah. And I don't want to get too far off topic, but it's like, yeah, the rules are set up that way where you can't help people. People have to make their own choices and decisions. And then if they make them, then they can ask for help, or they can receive help without even asking for it. But without that, you cannot help anybody. It's a rule. It's a universal law. And it's interesting. I've bumped up against that so many times.
Yeah.
As we all have.
Yeah. Yeah. Once I let go of that, life became a lot easier. I just going with the flow, because once you understand the bigger plan, once you understand that it really is like an opt-in versus opt-out, and it's totally within yourself. The game is, it's a spiritual battle within yourself that you can decide to win or not, and that's the game.
Yeah, that's right. So what about the business stuff? Obviously you run a couple of companies, and I think, from my perspective, not even that I really know it that much about your businesses, but from my perspective, they're very much tied into, the stuff that needs to happen on Earth. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So there's a couple there. I mean, all aspects of it are essentially, feeding the world that I want to see. So on a personal level, I run the businesses in the way that works for my life. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So a few years ago, probably 3, maybe even 4 years ago at this time, we were looking for like venture capital money. And so you take venture capital money so that you can develop products. So I run a food company. I would call it a health food company. And then I sort of run the business side behind my dad's brand. And so we have supplements and health wellness products that he believes in, that are sort of speak to the new paradigm of, how the human body really works, germ theory versus terrain theory, all that stuff. So years ago, probably 3 or 4 at this point, looking for venture capital money, because the trajectory of the business wasn't, was possibly to go in this direction. So venture capital money, we're looking to develop new products, take them into brick and mortar retail, grow revenue, and then 5 to 7 years later, sell it for a multiple of our revenue. That's the trajectory. That's the trajectory when you go that route, is to raise money, grow revenue, sell it to a strategic investor, something like that, or a bigger venture capital firm. And so that would what would what would be required there is a lot of things that I don't like to do, meaning leave my house, go on sales calls, get our products into brick and mortar retail stores, and basically give up a lot of the operational control to investors rather than to myself and my family, my dad and brother, who have roughly equal ownership to me. But the way that so went through that process, decided that we were giving up too much control, and then over the next couple years essentially decided, rather than thought or had an inclination to, we decided to have a different strategy for the business. And what that is it's doing what we do well, which is e-commerce, high quality products, not necessarily mass produced. We can't produce them in mass because, high quality is not necessarily something that's conducive to mass production. And so our strategy shifted from a thought to go broad, mainstream, to very niche. Here's the products, here's the customers that we serve, and we're fine with that. We're fine with having a niche type of product. Now, as we've gone, as we've grown and achieved some success, we're now working more and more with people who are, sort of in our world, so to speak. So we're working with Joel Salatin and Polyface Farm to offer a sort of butcher box type of product line. You can order frozen meat, basically the best you can get, and it's from Joel Salatin and Polyface Farm. And if you look up anything about Joel and what they're doing, they are very much in line with sort of our line of thinking on health, freedom, and the rest of it. We just launched a ghee product, which is, in my opinion, it's the best ghee out there. It's A2 certified grass-fed ghee. And then even more recently, we launched some nuts and nut butters. And these are products that are properly processed, and the best quality nuts that you could source, combined with being properly processed. And again, the producer of those products is also in line with us in terms of, health, freedom, and the rest of it. And so I say all of that to say, like, we are working with people who are also on the same path as we are. And so that's on one hand. On the other hand, the other thing that I've recognized is that community and relationships is one of the most important things that we could offer people in this world, separate from products and services and those types of things. And so we're investing a lot of money into building our online community. So we've started a Subscribe Star community, and we have close to 3,000 people there. And the last, I think, 3 or 4 hires have all been within our community. Like, we don't even post job openings on the regular job boards, monster.com, indeed.com, or ZipRecruiter, those types of places. We just open our job openings to people within our community. So what has that done to our workforce? Well, everyone is on the same page. Everyone is working towards the mission. Everyone gets it. Everyone is, completely there with everything that's going on. And so what do you think that does to, company morale and how bought in people are to working this job? It's become more than a job. It's become like they're part of the mission that we have. And so we're bringing truth, health, freedom, that entire message, but it's also backed up with people who are fully on board with this. And this is more than a job to our, to our people. And and it's just become a really great place to work, in my opinion. Maybe people in the chat will disagree, but I think it's I think people are having a good time working with us, know that they're valued, and know that they're part of a bigger mission that we have here. And and so it's something that we've made a conscious decision to go away from, quick money, easy, that whole venture capital, raising money so we can sell. We've decided to go a completely different route, and that's not what a lot of businesses are doing in these days. So we have community building, we have hiring people from within our network, we have the message that we're putting out into the world, we have products that we're sourcing from like-minded producers, and everything is sort of within this vein of building the world that we want to see and doing it in a way that we all like to do it. I'm living the life that I want to live, and the business is supporting that, rather than me trying to fit my life into what the business needs.
Your employees all say they don't like working for you, by the way.
Bummer.
Okay, so I know I know we both have like a hard 9:30 or 10:30 your time cut here, so we got about 15 minutes. So it's such an interesting topic. We could probably talk about this for hours. It'd be fun to do so, but I'll try to be somewhat brief. Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, I think that you hit on some really key things, and it goes back to values. You didn't say values, but it's really what you were talking about. I think it's like do we have the values of the matrix world, which is get as big as you can, as fast as you can, and as and be as flashy and sort of have it all, and for the wrong reasons, right? Just sort of for ego reasons. Or what was that silly line from that movie, which I'm sure came from long before that, is like, work to live or live to work type of idea, right? But it's like, or do you set up your activities that you do, which obviously includes work, and it's a big part of people's activities in general, right? In such a way that serves your greatest purpose, maybe the higher purpose, and your own goals and your own, all of that sort of stuff. And then how does that feed into the bigger picture of what's going on in the world and all that? So it's like, yeah, you were presented this opportunity to take this route, and you had the wisdom and the wherewithal to be like, well, that might be fun, but but there's some stuff there that I'm not super into. Let's go this other route. And then something beautiful got created out of that. I have an interesting, very quick story that really parallels that, where we had an opportunity to sort of apply for this sort of grant money, for lack of a better term. And that would have given us, these sort of almost unlimited funds to do all this incredible work in the area that we focus on in our business, which is Vilcabamba, Ecuador. And we strongly considered it. But then some weird things happened, like on the road to sort of deciding to put together the proposal, which was very in depth and would have taken a huge amount of our time and effort, and so on and so forth. And then some strange things happened with like the one, with like the guy who, anyway, some weird things happened. And we just kind of, on the vibe of it, we're like, look, we both, me and my business partner, are like, look, we both want this, right? We want to have all this work, we want to be at the forefront of having enough capital to like sort of remake this whole area, right? Like turn this whole area into this magical sort of paradise, which it kind of is already anyway, but in a sort of
larger way with all this capital and things like that. Like we want that. But like, is this really right? You know, is this really? And ultimately we decided no. And here I am, you know, here we are, probably, I don't know, probably 6 months later. I'm terrible with time, but it's not a huge amount of time later. And what I'm watching unfold in my business life is that same thing, except grown organically. Right. So we have a real estate company. That's just a straight, you know, just a straight real estate company. We certainly, you know, operate in an ethical way and try to serve people and all that kind of stuff. But it's a real estate company at the end of the day. We have that. Then we have a development company. We're launching a new one. The development company is a development company as well. You know, it's interested in making money, of course, but we don't take on projects that we don't love, right? So we're really community building through the development company. Like we're setting up beautiful places for people to live that are well designed, well thought through, and sort of lead to a lifestyle that, you know, is fantastic and healthy and all that kind of stuff. And we're helping them sort of relocate as well, often to an area that lends itself to all those things as well, including this incredible community. It's sort of this, it's really like a new earth community. I mean, it just really is. It's like this place that doesn't buy into the nonsense, and for the most part, and is creating, like in real time, the sort of networks and the businesses and the activities and so on and so forth that we all want to see flourish on earth, for earth to sort of go to that next level and survive all of the weirdness and so on and so forth. So we've got the development company. Then on top of that, we do agricultural projects. So organic, beautiful, like high vibration, you know, agricultural projects. Again, is that financially motivated as well? Of course. But the net result is that, you know, beautiful, organic, amazing food is coming onto the market, grown in a really amazing way that also is very creative and gives jobs to people and so on and so forth, and works with the land in a really cool way, you know, too. Then more recently, you know, we're launching right now a retreats like arm of the, it'll be a separate entity, but retreats, a charity, like a large charity, which is going to be really fun. And that's where we're teamed up with these crypto people on it. And it's pretty cool. And then a school as well, which is the area just needs. So it's kind of like, that was definitely a piece of that. Well, the charity, sort of the thing that we were offered to do, kind of was a charity, but the charity then will be able to do all kinds of stuff that would have been on our list anyway for that thing prior. And then the other things were on the list, right? The school and things like that. So I think, to me, this just comes down to alignment at the end of the day, right? So it's aligning who you are with God, first of all, as best you can, right? And then your activities to who you are, regardless, and not making sacrifices on that, you know, not doing the lame excuse of I had to, or I didn't have another choice, or, you know, or what else am I going to do, or those kinds of things. So it's really, you know, it's participating in your own life is how collectively as humans we create the world we want to see, right? It's not saying, oh, but the system, and therefore, you know, I wanted to, but, or I had to for this reason or that reason. So, you know, I'm participating. I think we all are, right? But I'm participating like actively and literally. I'm watching it. It's so cool in the creation of the new earth. Like me and my partners, who I have several of, and there's been all these amazing new people who have hopped on board recently. You know, we're sort of becoming, if we're not already, kind of these power brokers in the community that we live in, and we have phenomenal intentions, and we're voluntary based, right? And we're doing stuff that is just benefits everybody, right? It's just stuff that's good for everyone. And so out of those activities comes the structures and the networks and the communities that literally is the new earth, and so and I had a similar experience. Like I posted a job posting on our YouTube channel like 2 or 3 days ago, and I'm now scheduled, like I have 2 to 3 interviews scheduled every day out to like the 20th of this month, with incredible people. That's what I'm so impressed by. With like, we're going to look for a bunch of other people in the future, but right now we're just looking for real estate agents. Hold on, I gotta tell my son not to get that wet. So we're just looking for real estate agents, and we get inundated with this with a deluge of like high level real estate professionals who are like, oh, I would love to come to Ecuador and do all. So again, I think that happens. I think you don't have that difficulty. You don't have to go to Job Recruiter or whatever those sites are these days. You don't have that difficulty. Things just tend to line up and click in because you're in the vibration of what God wants, I would say, or the universe wants, or whatever. You're doing things not for just self-interest, right? You're doing things in service to others, right? It's sort of in service. And there is a greater plan at play, maybe not the one you referenced earlier, or maybe, I don't know, but there is a greater plan at play here. and so on the macro, like, I mean, it's sort of micro, it's sort of macro, but on the larger scale, each individual doing the things we talked about in our personal life, and then also aligning that with their business activities, quote unquote business activities, and letting those networks form, let those streams of income, let those revenue streams do amazing stuff that benefits people, so on and so forth. This is how it happens, right? And it is happening, and I'm participating in it. Like, how freaking cool is that? I literally have to sit back frequently and just be like, and just revel in it. Like, it's so fun.
Yeah, I do that too. Actually, I revel in my in what we've created. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't expect to ever have to go to a job board again. I think we'll be able to hire people from within our community. I mean, we put out a customer service. We need a new customer service person, and I think we got something like 15 to 20 like really, really good people, and I'll be interviewing the final 3 this week. And I mean, it's like, yeah, I mean, these people are highly, highly qualified people, and I haven't gotten to talk with them yet, but the 2 people that I've interviewed them already have glowing reviews so far. So I mean, customer service person, I'm not trying to minimize that position, but we're not talking about I would say rocket scientist, but I think those are fake. We're not talking about an astrophysicist, let's say Neil deGrasse Tyson. They don't have we don't need to someone with that type of academic pedigree, let's say. But we are getting like really, really, really high quality people, and people who want to work with us because it's us, because of what we're doing, because of how we do things. And I mean, when you put together a team like that, like, how are you going to fail? I suppose it's possible, but yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's I think everyone has fun, and sure, there are times that when it's stressful and there's a lot of work and all that stuff, but yeah, it's that flow state that you talked about. I mean, things continue to happen, and you know, at this point, we have more opportunities than we have time to handle them. So that's a good place to be.
Yeah, and
I could,
go ahead.
I said I could probably go on in terms of like getting into more details of what we're actually doing, but we are coming up to when we need to stop. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And once you can unplug yourself from needing to know what's going on, and you know, do we have Hillary dead to rights or not? Like, um, you know, it just doesn't matter. Because even if we got Hillary, like trapped her in the sewers and she has nowhere else to go, like, so what happens after that?
Right.
You know, the next person just comes in and fills her role. So
By the
doesn't
way,
matter one bit.
YouTube. By the way, YouTube. We like Hillary. Okay, we like
Oh
Hillary.
yeah, she's awesome. She's awesome. She should have been the first female president.
I'm
So,
pretty upset she wasn't YouTube.
yeah. Yeah, she's totally awesome.
And communism rules.
Yeah,
Fuck
totally.
Trump.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Glad to catch part of the live. Seedlings needed watering in our greenhouse. Spring is definitely here in New England. Awesome. That's great, says Chris Colson with flowers in the picture. Hey, Rezu, Darren, Jamia, Chris Colson, Robin, Dan, Rockin' Robin, Brian Dixon, Bob and Ann. Everyone's here today. That's awesome. Anyways, do we got to get going?
Yeah, I do as well. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a little peek inside what we're doing in our personal and business lives. And I think it's the way to, you know, sort of win in your own life in on the micro, and wins on the micro in your personal life spreads out to people around you, and then that's how we win in the macro. And so yeah, not that we have all the answers or are living you know not making mistakes or doing any, you know, like, of course we're human, we make mistakes, we're not, you know, infallible to say the least. But yeah, anyways, have a good rest of your day, and we will talk to y'all, I think